What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Jackal Gold Games. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about some movies that I think should get video games. So I put a little list together of some of the movies I could think of that I think would be really cool to see video games for. So first up on my list is I know they've technically made a video game for this character, but not this specific movie. Brandon Lee's The Crow. Now they did a Crow video game, but I think it was for City of Angels or one of the other movies. I would like to see a video game for the original Crow with Brandon Lee. I think a video game for that would be really cool to see. Some kind of third-person shooter, maybe mixed with melee combat. They could, if within rights of his family, if they can do it, they could see if they could use the likeness of Brandon Lee. That would be pretty cool to see. And I think it would be really cool to see a video game based on that. I think it would be really awesome to see because the movie itself is great. It's a phenomenal film. It just sucks that Brandon Lee died because he was a great actor and he had so much more stuff to do. I can imagine, but it would be really cool to see a game for this movie, especially since I heard the Crow video game we did get of the other movie was pretty bad. So yeah, I would love to see a video game for that movie. I think it would be really good and yeah, it'd be awesome. Another movie that I think should get a video game, and it could be any of the movies in this series, Death Wish, specifically the Charles Bronson ones. I think a video game based on Death Wish would be pretty cool to see. Some kind of vigilante type video game, probably make it a third person shooter, or you can make it a first person shooter where you play as Paul Kersey and you just kill vigilantes and have vigilante justice happen. And you could use the actor Robert Bronzi, who looks just like Charles Bronson. So you could either use the likeness of Charles Bronson, or you could have Robert Bronzi do it, and that's how you could do it. I'd love to see a Death Wish video game of any of the movies, whichever one would like to see it. It'd be really cool to see you play as Paul Kersey, and I think that'd be really cool to see. I wouldn't care to have it centered around the Bruce Willis one because I didn't like the remake. I thought it was lame. But another movie that I think would make for a very good video game, any of them specifically, Scream. I think Scream should get a video game, but it should not follow the fucking formula of the other horror games. Because something I'm sick of, what I mean by that is games like Evil Dead the game, Friday the 13th the game, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they're all kind of similar where it's like this multiplayer shit, and that's really all it is. It's like I'm tired of seeing that. That's not really what I want to see with horror movies that have like slashers in them. I want to see an offline, single player focused game centered on the Scream movie, one of them, where you play as Ghostface or you play as Sydney, something like that. Would love to see a video game based on Scream. I think that would be interesting to see as long as they don't follow the damn formula of all those other games because I'm sick of that and it's not really something I'd be into. I want the single player stuff. So I think it would be really cool if we could see a video game based on Scream or one of the Scream movies. Be really cool if we could play as Ghostface specifically. So that'd be something else that'd be cool to see. Another one that I'd like to see, this could be any of the live action Resident Evil movies. I think it would be interesting to see just at least one video game based on one of the live action Resident Evil movies. I think there's one out there, but it's like a mobile one, but like an actual one made on consoles and PC with high budget. I think it would be interesting to see what a video game would turn out if it's just based on one of just one. Capcom can make it. I think it would be interesting. You play as Alice, it shows the characters of that. It would be interesting to see 'cause there's some enjoyment I think to be had with some of the live action Resident Evil movies. I like some of them. The only ones I don't like is the second one and then Retribution, but I don't mind most of them. Like I have fun with them. I'm not including Welcome or Record City or whatever it's called. That movie was a piece of shit. Fuck that movie. But I would love to see one of the live action Resident Evil movies get a video game. I think that would be interesting. I like to see it. It'd be interesting to see how it turns out because you'd be able to compare it to the Resident Evil games we do get. I'd like to see it. And you could get Mila Jovovich to mocap and all that stuff. I think it'd be cool. Some other movies that'd be cool to see video games of is any of the animated Resident Evil movies. I think it would be cool to see any of the animated Resident Evil movies, see how it would be if one of them get a video game. Any of them would be cool. I think that'd be pretty cool to see as well. I'd probably choose Death Island because you have so many awesome Resident Evil characters in it. It'd be interesting, it'd be like something different. It'd be like a spin-off or something. I'd like to see it. I think it would be really cool. So that's another choice. Another movie that'd be cool to see a video game of is The Crazies, the remake from 2010 with Timothy Olyphant and whoever the other actor is. That's a pretty good movie really good remake, really good horror film. I love that one a lot. I've watched it many times. I love the main character. I love his partner, Russell. It reminds me a lot of The Walking Dead. It came out around the same time as Walking Dead because they're wearing like sheriff outfits. There's southern accents in it. And, it's like kind of a apocalypse type film. So it's kind of similar to The Walking Dead. I would like to see a video game based on the Crazies. I think you could really do like a good linear single player, you know, fun campaign story mode. I would say third person shooter based on the Crazies. I think you could do something really fun with that, and I'd like to see that. I think that would be very interesting. So I would make it third person shooter. So yeah, that'd be another cool movie to see a game of. Another movie that would be cool to see a video game of is Walking Tall from 2004, the remake with Rock, Dwayne Johnson. I think it would be really cool to see a game of this. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love Walking Tall. It's a great film, and I think a video game of Walking Tall, the one with The Rock, would be really cool. You could get The Rock's likeness in it. I think you could make something really fun. It could be like a brawler, third person action, beat 'em up, shoot 'em up type game. You could have a really good game based on Walking Tall. I think it would be really cool and really fun. You could also include co-op in this because you have Johnny Knoxville, so you could do some kind of co-op thing as well. And another thing that'd be cool to see is maybe you could incorporate things that weren't in the movie. Same with the other choices on here I forgot to mention. And you could also, maybe extend the story past where the movie ended. Same with the other films I mentioned. So that's another movie that'd be cool to see get a video game. And then the last choice on here, one that I think would be really, really dope and work really well is Training Day, the movie with Denzel Washington and Ethan Hawke. I think this would make for an excellent video game. Now, how I would do a Training Day video game is similar to how they went about the Scarface video game. So, spoiler alert, in the Training Day movie, at the end, Alonzo, the character that Denzel Washington plays, gets shot and killed by the Russians, and Ethan Hawke goes back home. But how the game could start is that Denzel Washington, as Alonzo, ends up getting the upper hand and killing the Russians, escaping, and then it starts there. And then you build a whole story around that. You could have Ethan Hawke be the villain, be the person you face. You could have the little squad that Alonzo knew in the first film, or they could show up in the game and save Alonzo, and you could just build the story from there. I think that would be your best bet with doing a Training Day video game. I would love to see that. I think it would be really cool. He could have the likeness of Denzel Washington. He could return to the role of Alonzo. I think it would be really well because it wouldn't be like a well, maybe it could be kind of a sequel, but it would be basically just taking the original film that's a classic that I love and just kind of, retconning something. I think it would be very interesting to see. Get Denzel Washington to voice Alonzo, get Ethan Hawke's likeness in there, you get Dr. Dre's likeness in there. Maybe he could be in it more than the movie and you can have some music made for it. Would love to see a Training Day video game. I think that would be really cool to see. Maybe Rockstar can make it, or maybe even Remedy, the makers of Max Payne, or maybe the makers of Gears of War. I would say it should be a third-person shooter or some kind of third-person brawler shooter type game or something like that. Good campaign focused game. I think Training Day would make for a dope game. So that's my last choice of this list. So yeah, that's all I really got to say in this video about some of the movies I could think of that I think would make for really good video games. Would be really cool to see these happen. Let me know in the comments some movies you would like to see get video games. That's all I got to say in this video. Peace out.